Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we drafted a very good defensive defenseman at number 23 who was literally as good as the first overall pick at 80 overall. So we are getting some pretty good prospects into our system. And now we're up here in free agency looking to acquire some new pieces to help build our team around so we could be a competitive team again next season. Now, before we actually get into those free agent signings, I do have a few comments to go over. The first one being from HawksFan88. He says, I think you should go after a bigger name defenseman in Tom Poti. He's an 85 overall, so I think that would be a huge help to your defense, which I agree with. I think he would be a good fit for our team. The only problem is he's a left-handed defenseman, and we have a lot of left-handed defensemen already, but I guess we could always pick up some other right-handed defensemen as well with him. And then I also mentioned if there was anything else intriguing to HawksFan, and he said nothing really. I just signed that low lead sniper, which there was a low lead undrafted sniper that we're probably going to be going after as well in terms of free agents, just because he looks like he could be a future good player for us. So where is he? This guy, Mr. what's his first name, Don Merritt. He's going to be probably playing in our HL right away on one of our top lines down there, and I hope he develops into being something pretty good. And yeah, could be a future top line sniper, who knows. Now our next comment here is from Gerald Richards. He says, what I would do to trade Heatley is and get as much value as possible is within these steps. One, look for a team that wants Heatley. If there's a lot of rookie skaters, sort by overall and look for the top six, some top 6 potential forwards and top 4 potential D-men that are 75 and a max age of 22. And then he says 3, I would trade Heatley for picks during the season, as first round picks are incredibly difficult to get during the off season. So if we are going to trade Heatley, which we are going to in this episode, we should be trading him to a team that wants him, and then either for rookie skaters, so some prospects that have top 6 potential or top 4 potential and that are younger than 22, or we trade him during the regular season for first round picks. But I don't know if I really want to wait on trading Heatley, so we're probably going to be trading him as well in this episode, so quite a bit of stuff to do. And then the final comment here is from Kevin Jimina. He says it would be cool to bring in Chris Neal, so we'll probably bring in Chris Neal for a 4th line role with this Atlanta Thrashers team. So before we get into those free agent signings, let's actually pull off some the trade with Heatley, just because I would like to get rid of him so we can kind of see how our roster is situated. Okay, so before we get into that free agent signing, let's make our trade with Danny Heatley already, just so we can see what our team is like going into free agency. Danny Heatley is going to be dealt to Europe. The main reason I want him to trade him to Europe is Europe actually wants him, and they do have some prospects that they're willing to trade out, like Gerald Richards was mentioning. So we are going to be trading him for, first and foremost, this 69 overall 19-year-old in Jalen Kemp. He's a former 14th overall pick, and he looks pretty solid all around. His deking skills and his puck skills are really good already, so Jalen Kemp is the main piece coming back in this trade, but as you can see, the value is still heavily in their favor. So to make this a little bit more fair, we are also going to be throwing in a 2nd round pick for next season, and in this should be a little bit more even. I feel like we're still giving maybe a little bit more value, but I mean, this top 6 forward prospect should develop into being something decent, and then we get a 2nd round pick with that as well. So I don't know if there's anything else I could take in this deal. I could try taking a 3rd as well, but I doubt I would be able to get a 3rd round pick as well. So let's see if we can get this deal done. So Heatley for Kemp, a 2nd and a 3rd. And that is accepted. Wow, okay, thank you, Europe. That was actually a pretty good deal. So we have a new 2nd and a 3rd, and we got a new top 6 forward prospect that should develop into being something decent, I would say, at some point. So thank you for that, Europe. And now we get into our free agent signings, but first and foremost, I'll show you guys what I kind of have planned for this roster. So basically, I'm thinking we are going to play Mike Fisher as a 2nd line left winger. The main reason is because obviously he's way too good to be a 3rd line center. So we are going to play like Kuznetsov as our 3rd line center, and then Fisher could be playing with like Savard, Malkin could be playing with Bergeron, that type of idea for our top 6. So that's kind of what I have in ideas for our center core and that sort of idea. So let's get into these free agent signings, because I have a lot of them to do. I wrote down everybody that I want to bring into this roster because I was looking through to see what kind of players would be the best fit for our team and best overalls and that sort of stuff. So first, we're going to get into the signings that you guys wanted. So the first one is Chris Neal, coming over to us from the Ottawa Senators. I think, unless he was with a different team last season. He might have been with like Detroit or something. So I remember seeing him on a different team, I think. Yeah, he was in Boston last season, and he actually put up a decent amount of points. He does take a lot of penalty minutes, which is a bit iffy, but he is going to be playing on our fourth line, so that should be interesting. Give him a little bit more for fun. 1750 for 1 year. And then we're also going to be bringing in Tom Poti as suggested by Hawksfan. So as you can see, Tom Poti is the best defenseman in free agency, yet no team wants him because he wants like 5 years. We might be able to give him a multiple year deal, but I don't know if I really want to. So I might, 1 year at 6 mil is not bad. I'll give him a 1 year deal, I think, for now, but we could always bring him back in the offseason. I'll give him like 6.6 just to solidify that. And then other players I was thinking of bringing in, so on the defensive front, since we don't have a lot of right-handed defensemen, I think we're going to be bringing in Sergei Zubov. The main reason is because he actually does fit our top 4. And yeah, he might drop off a bit, but he does fit our top 4 and penalty kill. So he is actually a good fit for this team. So bring him in at 1 year at, let's just give him 6 as well. And that should be good. And also, Sergei Zubov actually puts up still a decent amount of points at his overall. So very excited to see what he can do with us next season, especially if he's on like a power play unit or something. And then for our top 6 role, since I think we're going to be playing Thomas Malik as a depth defenseman, there was a 22-year-old that's a UFA. I don't know why the New York Rangers let him go to free agency, but they did not even qualify him, because normally he would probably be an RFA at this stage. So we're going to be bringing in this Ulf Pettersson guy. He's a medium top 6 D-man that's only 22, former second round pick, looks pretty decent, and he actually does fit a lot of our units. So he could actually be a pretty decent defenseman for us. So we're going to give him a 2-year deal, and we're going to just bump this up to $2 million. And his expiry status would actually be an RFA as well. So that should be a decent signing if we get him. Now, in terms of offense, we do have to bring in 4 other forwards. So the first one we're going to bring in is for the third line left wing spot I have planned, and that is, where was he? Was he higher up? No, he wasn't. It was Jay Pandolfo. The reason Jay Pandolfo would be a good option is he puts up actually a decent amount of points, and he actually might fit one of our units. He's also a very good defensive forward and doesn't take a lot of penalty minutes in real life, but I don't know if he does in the sim. We're going to give him a 1-year deal, and I'll just give him $4 million to play on our third line. And then for our fourth line center role, since we're going to be playing probably Kuznetsov as our third line center, we are going to be bringing in a center in wherever he is. In Magnus, is it? Or no, Matthias Johansson. Matthias Johansson fits our bottom 6, it looks like, and our penalty kill unit, so he could actually be a good penalty killer for us. So we're going to bring him in on a 1-year deal. Even though he might drop off and he might not play that well, we're going to just sign him for 1 year. And then the final 2 forwards we're going to bring in is for our right wing. So the first one is going to be Valerie Bure for our second line right wing to play alongside Mike Fisher and Mark Savard. Should be a decent option. He puts up a decent amount of points, and he also might fit our third line, so we could move him up and down through our lineup, which is a good thing. We'll give him a 1-year deal as well and give him $6 million, I think. I know I'm technically taking advantage of the fact that we don't have a max cap space, but whatever. And finally, we are also going to be bringing in Ivan Novoseltsev as our third line right wing. I think he actually, he fits probably our third line, so it's a decent option to bring in. And he's only 29 years of age, and he has some okay numbers for a third liner. So we'll bring him in as well on a 1-year deal and give him $3 million, a little bit over $3 million. And those are our signings, so quite a bit of signings. Hopefully they all accept, and then we'll take a look at what the computer signed in the first month of free agency, and then we will actually start up the season simulation. A lot of stuff to do in this episode. So we've already traded away Danny Heatley, and we've already potentially signed a bunch of free agents. So let's see if we can get all those guys in. So Sergei Zubov has accepted, Novoseltsev has accepted, Pandolfo, Chris Neal, Matthias Johansson, Ulf Pettersson, and there's the big one in Tom Poti and Valerie Bure. So we got everything we wanted, which is nice to see, and hopefully our team is pretty good next season, because I think those were some pretty good acquisitions for us. Okay, so let's see what happened in this first month of free agency, and then we'll probably make like a jump cut till next season, and I'll show you guys the adjusted lines and all that. So we want to go to the news feed. Let's see what happened. Let's see if there's any trades first. So trade-wise, yeah, there was some trades. So like Halavich going to LA from Chicago, Mark Parrish going to Columbus, Steve Staios going back to Vancouver, Joe Corvo going to Edmonton, and then there's our trade as well. Huh, interesting. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at the signings. Why did I just quit that? Goddamn, signing-wise, let's go to the bottom of this list and we'll look at the bigger signings. I'll probably scroll through it still just so you guys can see all the signings, but I'm gonna try and not read them all because or else my voice is just gonna completely die on me. So, big name free agent wise, let's see any big name free agents that I want to mention. There's all our signings. Our former player Jim Fahey though signs with the Colorado Avalanche on a 5-year deal, so that's good for him. Ovechkin gets re-signed by Nashville for 2 years. Ryan Smith signs in Vancouver, which I don't know if Oilers fans would really like that, to be honest, but who knows. It's better than the Flames, I guess. Jonathan Cheechoo signs in Chicago for 6 years. Interesting. Nicholas Sundstrom signs in San Jose. Wasn't he just with San Jose, or was he with Montreal in this? I can't remember. But I know he played for San Jose in real life, so that's kind of interesting. Michael Pekka goes back to Buffalo, where he began his career, I think. No, actually, no, he started in Vancouver, but he played also in Buffalo, I think. Unless he got traded from Buffalo to Vancouver, but I don't think that was the case. Brian Rolston signs in Philadelphia. Taylor Pide in Anaheim, okay. Anything else interesting? Aaron Asham, our former player, signs in Ottawa. Same with Kirk Maltby, another former player. Rick DiPietro signs a 6-year deal in Ottawa. Why are you doing this, Ottawa? Why do you have to do that to me? Michael Leighton in Dallas, okay. Ray Emery in Colorado, interesting. Phil Housley signs in New Jersey, where I think he played briefly in real life, so that's kind of neat. Nagy signs in Edmonton, that's kind of cool. Viborny in San Jose. Pecorine re-signs in Carolina for 7 years. Solani, our former player, signs in Chicago. Straka in Washington, that's kind of interesting. Brindamore in New York. Revea in the other New York. Anything else interesting? Alexei Zhitnik in Washington. Jeff Sanderson in Boston. Our former goaltender Martin Prusek goes to Minnesota. Tverdovsky in New York. Brisebois in Dallas. Sammy Salo in Anaheim. Thomas Holmstrom goes to Boston. Darian Hatcher signs with the Islanders. Manny Malhotra in St. Louis. Damn, there was a lot of signings. Lettinen signs in San Jose. Patrick Waugh signs a 1-year deal in Minnesota, probably because in real life he was eliminated by Minnesota in his final NHL season by Andrew Brunette, if you guys remember that goal that I'm mentioning. Rostislav Klesla signs in Colorado. Jason Smith also signs in Vancouver. Aaron Miller in Washington, interesting. Doug Waite signs in Europe for 2 years. Todd Harvey goes to Dallas, which I think he played with the Dallas Stars briefly, or maybe it was when they were still the North Stars, but I know he briefly played there. Roman Czechmanic signs in Calgary on a 1-year deal. Dan Snyder, our former player, signs in Columbus. Keith Primo signs in Boston. It's funny because he was with Boston at one point. He was part of the Joe Thornton trade, actually. Doug Gilmour signs in New York. Sergei Berzin in New Jersey. John LeClaire goes back to Philadelphia on a 1-year deal. Jimmy Howard was qualified by Columbus. Interesting. But Anaheim matched it. And that's pretty much it. So, kind of an interesting year for free agency. So I'm going to make a big jump cut to my edited lines for the upcoming season. That way we could still sim a little bit of the season. So see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so here is our lineup going into the 2027 season, I think. I don't even know what year it is, but anyways, we got Malkin, Bergeron, and Kovalchuk. Second line, Bure, Savard, and Fisher. third line, Pandolfo, Kuznetsov, and Novoseltsev. And fourth line, Neal with Johansson and Hossa. So a pretty interesting lineup. Not the best chemistry, but it is still a pretty deep lineup, I would say. And then defensively, we got Pody with our recently drafted Emmanuel Martinez, who's a very good fit for our top pairing, which is pretty awesome. We also got Sergei Zubov and Tony Lidman. And on our top 6, it's giving it to DeAndre Brody and Murray Belugas. Now, I could send down Brody to the AHL, which I might still do, and then play Ulf Pettersson, but Ulf Pettersson makes it a minus right now because of the fact that it's two defensive defensemen playing together. So we are going to still just leave it at Brody and Blue just for now. But I might have to find a way to get Pettersson into the lineup, considering he's listed as a top 6 defenseman. And then we also got Thomas Malik. We don't actually have a depth forward at the moment, which is kind of a bad thing. So maybe that's something we would like to still sign if we can. And then AHL-wise, just got to make sure we got the right prospects in. So Pruss needs to play. Ivanov needs to play. Damn, there's still a lot of guys in the AHL that need to play. So we will take out... Wow, our AHL team is really young still, too. We're going to take out Zikov for... Was Wong a top 6? Yeah, Wong is a top 6. Move him a little bit up, I think, in the lineup. Yeah, we'll go like something like this. There we go. And that should be good on that front. And what other 22-year-olds? Breland is a low top 6 as well, so he could always come out. Ivanov needs to go in on the left side, which means I think the odd man out here is Malone. Yeah, unless... yeah, probably Malone. So throw in Ivanov over Malone. And then I think that's almost it. And it's just defenseman we need to put in, I think. Yep, and then we just need to put in Prust. Which means we got to take out... Wow, Wall jumped up to a 78. Damn, okay, so Jalen Wall needs to be also in the NHL. So we do have a little bit of a defensive problem right now. I'm going to take out Nicholas Steen because he only has 7th defenseman potential. And we will throw in Mr. Prust into the lineup. And that should be fine. Yep. Actually, I'll put in that guy over... actually, I'll put Christie in. And there you go. That is good. Okay. So our AHL team, I think, is set up and ready to go. Yep, it is good to go. Okay. So, let's start up a little bit of a sim. We're not going to sim too much in this episode just because of the fact I want to still kind of... I'm still not sure on the defensive core because... I would like to play Wall because he's the medium elite defenseman in the AHL. And then I would also like to play Pettersson, but it looks like some of our defensive prospects like Brody jumped up a lot. So let's sim maybe a couple months, like till December the 1st, just to see how we play. So let's get this preseason done with. And see if we could win some games, and hopefully there's some good chemistry between these players. Like, I think we should be a guaranteed playoff team, but I'm not 100% sure with that. Because with the young defensive core and then also relying on just Carey Price now and Brian Elliott, we might not be as good. So 4-2-1 in the preseason is pretty solid. Kovalchuk led the way with 6 points in 7 games. So yeah, let's go to December the 1st. We're going to just go straight through to December the 1st because this episode is probably going to be a little bit long already. And yeah, let's see if this team could win some games. And hopefully our big guys like Kovalchuk could get going this season. I wonder how the team's going to be without Danny Heatley as well. We're not off to a greatest start. It's around 500 at the moment. Game against Vancouver. It's a loss 5-1. Yikes, we're letting a lot of goals in and we're losing a lot of games early in the season as we are 4-8-1 on the year so far. And we drop a couple more games. There's a win, though, over Buffalo. Novoseltsev, I don't think, was ever injured. But we're not off to the greatest start this season. Hopefully it turns its tides a bit. I don't know if it's because we have 2 young goaltenders or what. Because both those goalies have like not a lot of NHL experience. Only a couple more games left as Lidman goes down. We'll go replace Player. Damn, yeah, we are not playing good so far. Last game of the month, of course, Jay Pandolfo gets injured. And we are 8-14, 2-2. Not a good record at all. 20 points. We're almost the bottom of our division so far. Kovalchuk, though, does have 26 points in 26 games, but looks like this team is struggling a bit. There must be one pairing or something that is not doing that well. Let's take a look at the standing stuff quickly, just because I want to see what's been kind of triggering our team so far. So we have 78 goals so far this season, which is one of the best in the division. But goals against per game, we are the worst defensive team in the NHL. So it's probably the fact that we're running two younger goalies and some young defensemen. I don't know if we really want to like guarantee ourselves of being a playoff team this year or what. Like if we look in the entire league, goals for or goals against per game wise, we are one of the worst defensive teams in the entire NHL at this rate. And goals for per game, maybe we're like around mid-table. Our power play looks like it's really struggled out of the gate as well. Or maybe it's around the middle, 16.2%. Our penalty kill looks okay, 83%. So it looks like we're just allowing a lot of goals 5-on-5. And that might be the main problem. Let's take a look at our player stats so far. And I think that will be probably it already for this episode. Might be a bit of a shorter episode because I had to make a giant cut in the episode. But Mark Savard, 26 points in 26 games. His contract comes to the end this year, so if for some reason we're not a good team at the deadline, we might want to try and trade him away still, because or else he might hit the free agency. Mike Fisher, 20 points. That's pretty good for a second liner. Same with Bergeron, 20 points on that top line. Kind of underperforming a bit, but kind of doing really well as well. Malkin, only 16 points. That's kind of odd. And then Johansson, 7 points, and Kuznetsov has 5 assists, but he's a minus 12 in 26 games. So it seems like our third line might be the main problem right now. And then left winger wise, Kovalchuk's got 26 points, Pandolfo's got 14, and Hosa's got 4. Right wing wise, Valerie Burray's got 23, Novoseltsov's got 9, and he's a minus 9. So yeah, I think it's the third line. And then Chris Neal's got 3 points and is a +1. Defensively, Zubov's got 11 points, Pody's got 10 points, Libman 9. Martinez has got 6 points in his first season so far, so that's pretty decent, -2. 27 PIMs already, too. Brody in his first season so far has 5 points, he's a +1. Blugis has 2 points, and nothing for Malik in his 3 games. So, defensively, like our defensemen aren't really badly minus, it's mostly that third line. So we gotta look at probably adjusting that line or something. And then goaltending wise, their goaltending, like Brian Elliott, has been horrible. Jeez. He has not won a game yet in 8 appearances. He's got an .879 save percentage and 3.91 goals against average. So, yeah, Brian Elliott is not very good of a simulator right now at this rate. Maybe he would sim better as a starter, but who knows. But Carey Price has been okay. He's won us 8 games. He's got a .900 save percentage and a .309, which is not good. I'm kind of curious, who's leading the league in points right now? Ray Whitney with 31, him and Pavel Markov of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Interesting. Most goals so far is Joe Juno. Damn, the Penguins look like they're a lot better now. Which makes sense for the time period we're at. Who's leading us in the AHL in points? It is Vladimir Frolov with 17 points in 19 games. AHL team is 500 pretty much at this rate. Quickly, let's take a look at the draft class just to see if it's worth maybe tanking this year, which we have no idea about. But the first overall pick might be a power forward, which would be probably a really good goal scorer. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So in next episode, I don't know what we want to do, if we want to start like trading away some guys, or if we just want to sim more of the season and see how our team plays before we get to the deadline. But we probably need to make some sort of like line adjustments or something, especially because, wow, Tony Libman got thrown in on the third line. Oh yeah, because they didn't sign a depth forward because Pandolfo's out. That's not good. I probably need to sign a depth forward in the next episode. Or call up somebody from the AHL that's not playing. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. I feel like this year we could just go back into a rebuild again for a bit, but We could always try playing, Wall's a defensive defenseman. It was Edmonds that's an offensive defenseman. I could give Edmonds a shot and call him up as a forward. And try using him as a forward on that third line. Which you guys are going to say is probably insane. But sometimes if you play like offensive defensemen as forwards, they might actually be pretty good. So who knows, maybe we'll give Isaiah Edmonds a shot at forward next episode on that third line. And yeah, maybe that would help us out a little bit in terms of offense while there's that injury to Pandolfo. So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.